Hello, my friends. Today I want to take a look at AUM and kind of go over some basic recording stuff. I've had a few questions about how to record into AUM and export those files and what you can do with them after that. So I want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit and demonstrate how I record and a couple of different options that you have there. This is kind of an AUM's basic thing. So if you have a pretty good knowledge of AUM, if you've been using it for a while, you can probably skip this video, but I thought it might be helpful for some of those folks that are new to it and just starting to get into AUM and figuring out how to create electronic music here. So here is just kind of a basic setup. I've actually only got 2 tracks going here. This is just kind of a simple ambient setup that you might have for Channel 1 is my voice so that I can record this video, of course. Channel 2 is coming out of my Eurorack, which is very small right now. I have 2 modules other than my power module, but I am running my circuit mono station into it for an LFO, and also it's working as a MIDI to CV conversion for me. So I'm running Afterlater Audio's Nano Rings into the Dreadbox Eudaimonia for the mixer and for some filtering effects as well. I've got the LFO from the mono station running into the low pass filter on the Eudaimonia to add just a little bit of effect. And then I've just got that signal running dry out of the Eudaimonia into my Tascam 4x4, which is then going into channel 2 here. And I've got glider reverb set up there. And I've got granular, which is a basically mutable clouds. It's by Spectrum. You can get it in the Spectrum synth bundle if you haven't checked that out. It's free. You might as well go get it. And it's a pretty good copy of clouds. It's got some visual elements to it, which makes it a little bit easier to use in the actual module. And it's free. So I haven't been able to buy clouds yet, but it's probably coming in the future. So with those, they sound like this. I've got particles running in C minor, doing some just kind of random note generation for me. And I'll go ahead and turn that on so you can hear it. So just some kind of basic ambient stuff going on there. Turn that off for a second. In channel 2, I've got kind of my pad for an ambient track. It is running Quanta, and I'm using the Marcus Fisher preset Harmonic Parlor. I played with it a little bit just to get the sound that I wanted down here. By the way, you can still hear that reverb. I love glider verb so much. It's such a long decay. It's a lot of fun. But then I've also got, in the Quanta here, I'm running Marcus Fisher's Harmonic Parlor. And then I've got Blease's reverb running through that, and Cosmonaut. If you're familiar with any of my videos, you know that those 2 are kind of staples in my setup. And then I'm running Rosetta Cells, and that's just the note C2 over and over again at 125 gate, just to basically give it a kind of a drone effect to it. It's not perfect, but it serves my purpose, and it was a quick setup for this video. So that Actually, I'll just mute that channel to make it work. And that sounds like this. So the granular synthesis adds enough motion to it to kind of keep it alive, so it's not just that one note droning through the whole thing, which I like. It's pretty cool. I could probably do more, and if I was going to develop this into a full track, I would add a lot more stuff. But let's just say that you've got those 2 things and you want to export those as their own audio files and put them into something like GarageBand if you want to add drums to it, or if you want to go over to a computer and put them into Audition or Logic or something like that. AUM makes it really easy to do that. You can actually record the individual tracks into individual files. So that you've got tracks that are lined up with the way that you performed it, but then you can export them as separate files and remix them later, add mastering, add effects, whatever you need to in a separate DAW. So the way to do that is each track has a little record button down here. Pretty simple concept. You just hit record there, and it arms it just like it would a track in a DAW. And then you go up here to the top left and you hit record there, and that starts your recording. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Notice that I don't have my vocal track set to record because I don't need that track. It's working through the screen recording that I'm doing here anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to go ahead and start this recording, and I'm going to let it go for about a minute or so. I'll start it with just the kind of pad bassy thing, and then I'll add the Eurorack stuff to it. Okay, so I let that go for about 24 measures or so, about a minute and 13 seconds. Okay, so once I've done that, AUM automatically saves the files, and you can view those if you go up to the top right and go to Files and down to Recordings right here. I titled this Recording Demo. So there's my 2 tracks right there. So I can drag them in if I want to save some of my digital signal processing. I can create a file player, and then I can load my file from my AUM recordings. And let's say I wanted to get that baseline pad thing in there just to save myself a little bit of DSP processing, so it's actually just processing the audio, it's not processing the MIDI. So there it goes. And I can do whatever I want to with it from there. I can add more effects to it if I want to. I can take out some of that attack just to make it more droney if I want to, and then have it loop from there. Whatever I wanted to do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete that, remove that channel. Another thing you can do is if you want to export those tracks to something else, you can go to Audio Share, which is super cheap, and it's a great way to move files around. I use it all the time. So if you don't use Audio Share, grab it. So I can go into Audio Share, and Audio Share automatically pulls in all of my AUM recordings. So my recording demo, and then I've got my 2 tracks there, and I can look at them. I can set whatever I need to. I can normalize them here if I need to. I can trim them. I can convert them to MP3s, whatever I want to. Audio Share is a completely separate video thing. But most importantly is it is a sharing app, so I can send them somewhere else if I need to. So this share button here lets me do that. So let's say that I want to just put them into my Google Drive to get to later. You're going to get a peek inside my Google Drive here. I'll select the folder. I've got a tunes folder and electronics. So it's all my electronic stuff there. So let's say I wanted to save it there. I just hit save here and hit upload. Now, ideally, I would probably create a separate folder for that because I do like to kind of keep things organized so that I could find it later, but just the basics. And a 1.5-minute wave file, depending on your internet speed. For me, it takes about 15-20 seconds to get it up there. I've done longer 25-minute long pieces that take a little bit longer to get up there, but that's one thing to do. And then I can go over to Logic and import that file, download it from Drive, and import it that way. Now, if you are going to do that, of course, make sure that you're exporting the full quality WAV file. Don't convert it to an MP3 and then put it up there, because you want the highest quality you can get. You don't want that MP3 compression on it before you do your mastering. Okay, so that's one option, and I'm not going to go into how to import into GarageBand and all that stuff. That's not what I'm trying to do here. Another option, and one that I probably use more often than that, my electronic music most often is basically an improvisation or a live performance. So I like to just record that take onto one file and then upload it to SoundCloud or drop it into Premiere or something. And there's a couple of things you can do. There's actually a way to set it up so that it masters it while it goes. There's another app. It is a little bit expensive and it works pretty well, but I'm going to show you how to use that. If you don't want to worry about that, if you want to master it in your own software, but you still want it recorded onto one track, here's an easy way to do it. You just basically have to set up a master channel, which I do by going here, going to Mix Bus, and I'll just name it Mix Bus A. I know I did that pretty quick, so I'll do it a little bit slower. So the source here is going to be Mix Bus A. You have a ton of options. And then over here, I just need to tell my tracks where to send to. Right now, all of my tracks are sending into my Tascam 4x4, which is then going into my headphones. So I don't need to do that. For these two tracks, since I want to record them, I'm going to click on the send, and I'm going to say send to Mixbus A. And now those tracks are being routed into my master channel, and I can use that, you know, as a sub bus if I want to, just to send a few things, all of my drums into it. A lot of times for my videos, I'll send my voice into one channel and the apps into another, so I can keep them playing, but you can still hear me. I can duck them out if I need to, whatever I need to do there. For this one, I kind of kept it a little bit simple. So I've got those tracks that I want to record, then going into Mixbus A over here. And I'm going to leave it dry for now, but the recording process is the exact same. I'm just going to hit record and make sure that all my stuff is set where I kept it. Looks fine for my start. And then I'm going to hit record. Sorry, I had a text from my wife there. Then I'll go ahead and bring this up. Helps if I turn on particles first. So if I scroll over here, you can see that it is getting an audio level. Now, I probably should have adjusted gains and stuff there, but that's all right. And then I'll go ahead and do a nice little fade out here. And then hit stop. So now if I go back over to a audio share, I've got a third channel, channel 6, which was my master recording. And I can hit play there. And if I scrub forward to where I brought in particles, I brought in the Eurorack. You can hear it mixed together there. And then I can do the same process. I can share that file. I can rename it if I want to. There's a rename there, and I can call it, you know, whatever, main channel. That way, once I get it up into Google Drive or wherever I put it, I know where it is. I can also, from there, I'm going to show you a little iOS mastering app that I like to use. It's not the absolute best. It does have some quirks, but I use it most of the time. So where do I have that kept? I think I have it in my effects over here. So this is an app called Final Touch by Positive Grid. And it's a pretty good little mastering app. I mean, I also have Isotope Ozone 8 on my computers, so I tend to, if I'm really doing a mastering track there, but if I'm just doing something for YouTube for my channel or something, I'll usually go ahead and use Final Touch here because it is pretty good. So you can import directly from Audio Share, which is another handy thing that I like about Audio Share. So I've already got that one pulled up. Oh, that was an export. I can import directly from Audio Share. So let's remove the track that I've already got in there. Import song. It's automatically grabbing the audio from that's coming into the iPad. That's pretty funny. Okay, so I'm going to grab Audio Share, and then I've still got that pulled up. So I'm going to hit import into app, and there's my track. Now you can see that my gain levels are pretty low there. I would have wanted to do it better. But for presets, I tend to just kind of go to, I like the electro widen, although sometimes it cranks up the gain a little high on the stereo imaging, so it'll add some distortion if you're not careful, but that's one that I like. And that does a pretty good job of mastering it. And then you can export it back into Audio Share if you want. You can send it to file sharing directly to Dropbox, an FTP server, whatever you want to do from there, including audio copy. So you can actually copy it into some other program if you want. Now, you can also use Final Touch if you have a newer iPad with the processing power. I'll put that caveat in there. But you can also use Final Touch as an effect, as an inter-app audio, so that it'll directly record all that stuff. So I'm going to go here into inter-app audio and then go down to Final Touch. You do have to have Final Touch loaded, otherwise it takes forever to load. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to that same electro widen, nope, that's house widen, electro widen preset. That tends to work for most of the weird ambient stuff that I tend to do. And now it'll automatically send my tracks directly into that and record them from there. So if I come over here, I've got particles running, so it tends to kind of float on its own. I've got that set to record. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start this just so we don't have to wait forever. So now you can hear it's a little bit better quality. It's a little higher gain, so it is going through my mastering software there. And then I can bring in, do all the stuff. So that's just kind of a quick example. And then from there, you can do all the same stuff I just did. You can send it into Audio Share and send it up. Now, Audio Share will let you directly send the track to SoundCloud if you want. You have to be logged in and everything, of course, if you want to do that. But that is another nice little handy feature that it has. All right, hopefully that answers a few of the questions you may have had about recording from AUM. And the beauty of AUM is, you know, if you have, like I have a Tascam 4x4, so I can plug in my acoustic guitar and a mic and have another friend over plugging in an acoustic guitar and a mic, and we can record a live set just like it was a mixer or any other recording station. And I think that's really the beauty and the power of AUM. But then also it does all of this great MIDI stuff, handling AUV3s and sending the MIDI routes everywhere. I mean, I cannot hype up AUM enough. It's just a wonderful, wonderful app. If you're making music on iOS, you need to have AUM. I know that BeatMaker is really cool and serves its purpose for a lot of you, and that's awesome. Keep using it if you've got it, but AUM is another great tool to add in if you haven't already. That's what I got for you today. I hope that this video was educational and informative for you, and thanks for checking it out. I also do want to throw a quick note in there. I just noticed that I have reached 201 subscribers on YouTube. I know that's a pretty small number compared to a lot of content creators out there, but for me, that's huge. That's a lot bigger than I expected it to get. I think when I started making these videos a few months ago, I had about 35 subscribers that were mostly my friends and students, and it seems like it's really grown from there. So thank you guys for your support. I appreciate the comments that you guys throw in. Feel free to send me a message or comment if there's a specific question you have about AUM, and I can see if I can answer it. I'm by no means a master, but I've got a pretty good grasp on it at this point. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.